I hope you're having a great week. I am fired up, man. I'm excited. And I'll tell you why. It's because in the next, 4 to 6 weeks, we're going to have a couple more grandkids, and I'm pumped up about that. There's nothing like family. Welcome to Chasing Greatness. I am so excited you have chosen to join us for this episode where it is Win at Home Wednesday. We have an episode every week where we talk about winning at home. And these grandkids have got me all fired up as I'm thinking about a couple more coming. We have one grandson already. We know we're having a granddaughter, one of these two, and then one of our daughters having a baby is going to be surprised. So it's going to be a big surprise. So we don't know. You want to, in the comments, you can tell me what you think is coming. I don't know, but my wife and I, we had 4 daughters through the years. They're all grown and married now, and now their families are starting to grow, and that's a lot of fun for us. So I'm excited about that. I hope you're excited about your family life. When we talk about winning at home, it really is a little bit of a chance for us to focus on what happens, not just from 9 to 5, but really that 5 to 9 when we go home, and really specifically our family relationships, our marriages, our kids, maybe our extended family. We'll all kind of things we'll talk about here, but we always say if you win at work and you lose at home, you still lose. And so I think it's so important for us to have a little bit of focus on that. I don't really hear a lot of people talking about it. And so I just thought it's so important for us to have this conversation. And if you listened last week, I talked about this question that has really driven the way I think about this over the last few years. And the question is this: what would it look like for me to live my life in such a way that the people who know me the best could love me the most, or would want to love me the most? Now, I always tell when I talk about that, I always tell leaders, I've seen people in the past where the people who know them the best really don't love them the most. They actually a lot of times respect them the least. And again, I think if you're respectable at work, but you miss this. The importance of this at home, and your family is not, like where it should be, it makes it really hard. And you've probably had some hard days at home. I know I have, as I look back growing up and I look at my family, the last 30 years, I mean, there've been some hard days. They're not all easy days. In fact, there've been a lot of hard days. And when it's not the way it is, it's just really, it makes your life hard. We'll talk about winning at life on Fridays, but it makes your life really hard when things aren't right in those key relationships. But man, there's just nothing better than when your marriage is working the way it should, or your kids and you are relating to each other the way you should, or you're getting along with your parents and your brothers and sisters if you have them, cousins, whoever you have. I mean, that extended family relationships is really important. Again, we don't talk about it a lot, or people don't talk about it a lot. I like to talk about it, but I think it's so important for us to do that. And so think about this question: what would it look like for you to live in such a way that the people who know you the best literally love you the most? There's nothing better than knowing you got things going on with those people that you care the most about and who care the most about you. So that's important. So how would we do that? As I've been thinking about this over the last few years, I've actually got a couple of things that I think they're strategies, or they're almost what I would call secret weapons to be able to do this. So let me share them with you. They're both actually found in the Bible, which won't surprise you if you listen. I like to read the Bible, and I think there's so much great wisdom there in every area of our life, but especially in our family lives. And these verses are not necessary. They work everywhere. They're not just family verses. They'll actually work at work. They'll work in your neighborhood. They'll work at school. They'll work on your team, wherever you are. But they really work at home as well, I've found. And so the first one came from home for me back when I was a little kid. My mom taught me this, and you've heard it before, whether you read the Bible or not. You've heard this one before. It's called the Golden Rule. The Golden Rule. And here's what the Golden Rule, it was actually, these are words spoken by Jesus. And I don't know, I don't think he said, hey, this is the Golden Rule, but it's been labeled the Golden Rule. And it says this: treat others the way you want to be treated. That is so simple. Treat others the way you would want to be treated. Now, that's just so good when you think about it. And if you want the people around you to love you, treat them the way you would want to be treated. which means if you want them to love you, you lead with love. You live last, you love first. You really are a person who is thinking about the well-being of the people around you. And I don't know about you, but when the people around me are thinking about me and trying to help me, it really makes me want to lean in, be engaged, love them more. And I understand it's got to be unconditional, all that kind of stuff. I shouldn't love them more if they do something for me, or they shouldn't love me more. But it makes me easier to love when I love that way. And so for you, just in a very tactical way, I want you to think about every family member that you'll be with this week or you'll talk to this week. What would it look like for you to love them? And I'll give you just one little way to think about that, maybe that will be helpful. Not everyone in your family will receive or hear love in the same way. Someone in that group of people really will love it if you spend time with them. Some of those people really need to hear a word maybe of affirmation from you. Some of the people in your circle there might need just to have an extended conversation together. There's all kinds of ways, but we need to be fluent in the language of the people that we live with. And just like if we went to another country, they would speak a different language than if we're here in the U.S. We speak English. Other places in the world, they speak different languages. Our family members are kind of the same way. Everybody's got their own language, different personality. And I think one of the ways we can show people we love them is really understand what it is they're going through. Maybe it's not even what says to them, I love you, but it's just understanding what they're going through right now. And if we begin to pay attention, that can really help those relationships. So the first one, again, treat others the way you want to be treated. I think that's just so practical and such an easy thing we could do. Just every single person in our family, we can make a list of all of them this week. We don't want to, diminish them to a list. That's not what I'm saying. But just if you can just think through carefully each person, what would say to them this week that I love you? What would speak their language? If you could do that and take that step, that'd be huge. And then the second thing that I would share with you, the first secret weapon, golden rule, do unto others what you would have them to do unto you. But the second one is some words that were not spoken by Jesus, but were written about Jesus by a guy named Paul, who actually wrote about half the New Testament. If you go back and read the New Testament of the Bible, you'll find Paul wrote a bunch of these letters. And in one of those letters, he was speaking about Jesus, and he says basically, have this attitude in yourself. And I like that the word attitude is what this is the way he thought. He says, have this attitude in yourself, which was in Christ Jesus. And then he goes on to say, consider others as more important than yourself. Now, that is a high standard when you think about it. I mean, I think there's no question we're going to always consider how important we are. We're going to have no problem thinking about ourselves. And yet, Paul is saying you should think like Jesus. I mean, he had this attitude of considering other people, and consider might be the key word there, to really stop and intentionally consider others as more important than ourselves. That is just... that actually is paving the way for a legacy. I can tell you, the people that I look at, who a lot of them are gone on from this world at this point. I mean, I've got grandparents and my dad, and there are others that I think of who they're no longer with us, friends that have left. And I think about the ones of those who created a legacy. It was because they always were, not always, but most of the time they were putting others ahead of themselves. And those real legacy builders are understanding that principle we talked about. If we're going to chase greatness, it's not just about us being great. It's really about helping somebody else be great. So I want to challenge you as you go through the rest of this week and really into the next few weeks to consider others as more important than yourself. And in a real practical, tactical way, start with the people who are closest to you. Start with those members of your family that you live with, that you'll talk to this week, and ask yourself the question, in what way is this person more important than me this week? Or how would I help them feel more important this week? I mean, it's so true that the way people make you feel, that's going to have a lot to do with your level of trust and respect and love and all those things that we're talking about here. So as you consider others as more important than yourself, I think for me, a way to really lock in on that this week is to say, for each one of these people that I'm really trying to help here, I would ask myself, how can I help them win? That's what's one thing I could do this week to help that individual win. Don't tell her, she won't be listening, but I'm gonna try to help my wife win this week. She actually will probably listen, but if you are listening, shout out to you, honey. I'm gonna try to help you win this week. And I think for all of us, if we will really understand just how powerful it is when we consider others as more important than ourselves, we start adding value. We always say you become a lot more valuable when you add value to others. And so you can't do that unless you consider that others are more important and have the right heart there. So that's a couple of secret weapons here we have. If we really want to live our lives in such a way that the people who know us the best love us the most, I think we need to live by the golden rule to treat others the way we want to be treated, and then start by an attitude adjustment, considering others as more important than ourselves. That's the goal. That's the standard. If we can do that, oh my goodness, we'll be so fun to be around. I know it's a tall hill to climb for me. I'm guessing it will be for you as well. But that language might be helpful to you. Think about each person this week. How can you help them win? And then take that step and go the extra mile. Really try to help them in the same way that you would want to be helped if you were, struggling, or even if you're doing great. You'd really want people to treat you a certain way. Let's lead that process. Let's lead with love. And if we'll do that, I think we'll be in a great place. All right, let's keep chasing greatness this week. Didn't say it at the beginning, but if you get a chance, I'd love it if you commented. Let us know how you're doing out there in your family life. If you got more ideas on how to live out that question that I gave, we'd love to hear it there. Put it in the comments. You guys feel free to chat there as well, and we'll respond. If you've got questions, things you'd love to see us address in family life, leave those. That'd be great. Hit the thumbs up button. If you've not subscribed, I encourage you to do that. Every Monday we're doing a how to win at work. On Wednesdays we do win at home like today, and then on Fridays we always drop in an episode now to help us win at life. So all those things together are helping us continue to chase greatness. You chase greatness this week. You know that I love you, and I'll see you in a couple of days.